Anybody can be beat. So how did that just feel? Feel great. Poetic justice. Anybody can be beat.
Namath back to pass on second down. Throws for the end zone. Touchdown for Raiders. Here's Benny going to the end zone. And he makes the catch. Yes! Revenge, man. Fake to Martin. Then it's up. And it is juggled and caught by Jumbo Elliott. That's up on the handstand.
Down here on 81, Randy Moss. Yeah, Brady gonna go deep for Moss. Revis is there and picked it off. And it's brought down by Moss back at the 16-yard.
You set it down. 47. Three, plowing ahead. And taken off. Bring to the 20. He's not going to be caught. Touchdown, New York Jets.
What is going on, Jets Guru fans and Jet fans out there? Welcome to the post-game report with your man, Jets Guru Daniel Smith. Listen, man, what a game. I mean, that game had me on the edge of my seat. I was just like, wow, like I couldn't believe what I was watching. There was a lot of good. There was a lot of bad on both sides of the ball. For both teams playing. The Raiders had a playoff spot or potential playoff spot on the line. Looked like the Jets were going to get another win against the Raiders coming into New York and just giving them the old hammer, but they eked one out at the end. You know, a deep pass to Ruggs finishes the Jets off. You know, a lot of people were already starting to go, oh, man, Trevor Lawrence out of the door for a victory that doesn't matter. And, you know, there were other people thinking in their head, Darnold, you know, he played an okay game, at least increases his value a little bit here. What a game. This is what I'm talking about. This is NFL football. I didn't like the results because the Jets lost, but then on the other hand, for the Jets and Jet fans, you do kind of like it. And it's unfortunate that the New York Jets put us in this position as Jet fans that we have to root for the Jets like we normally do in our hearts. We wanted them to win. We want them to play well. And then all of a sudden you start thinking on the other hand that Darnold is not the answer and that you want a new fresh start. And so there's this conflicting feelings that you put Jet fans through that's just not fun. But as far as watching football, I mean, this game was, you're on your seat. It was a fun game to watch. I don't care what anybody says, win, loss. This was a fun game. And let's start off talking about some of the good, right, before we get into the bad. The good is that Darnold did play better, okay? Darnold played better today. You got to give him credit earlier on. He was able to find some guys. He didn't make so many mistakes early like he usually does when he has time running outside the pocket and moving around. It didn't seem like he was trying too hard. It seemed like he was in the flow of the game. It seemed like the New York Jets were kind of taking command of the football game. And it's one of those things where I was like, okay, Sam, you want to come out here and show some things? Now, I know some people are going to say it's the Raiders. They give up 29 points a game, just like the Jets give up 29 points a game. So I was saying earlier on that on the Jets Guru, it could be a shootout. You know, it could be a back and forth type of game, and it certainly was. So Darnold was playing against a pretty banged up secondary in the Raiders, right? But he did his thing early on. And then to get into some of the bad when it comes to Darnold, he started making mistakes. The momentum started to swing. There were some turnovers. Becton on that first one got beat. Sam didn't protect the ball. He winds up getting strip sacked, and it goes interception, then another strip, and it just continued for about 3 possessions where the Jets lost the ball and there was a huge momentum swing over to the Raiders, who looked like they were starting to take control. And when you look at the Jets, you know, what saved them in this game, what kept them in this game, another positive here was the running game. I mean, woof! The Jets came to play running the football with new guard Pat Eflin paired up next to Mekhi Becton. Look out, guys, because Eflin, there's a good chance if he continues this throughout. I mean, not 200 yards, obviously, but you know that's not the easiest defensive line to go against with the Raiders. And they were able to put up some yards, 200 plus yards on the ground for the New York Jets between Johnson, Adams, and Sam Darnold. Johnson, 22 carries, over 100 yards, played awesome. And what have we been saying as Jet fans since we saw Johnson get introduced into the games? Is that we wanted to see more of him. We wanted to see more Johnson. We wanted to see more Perrine. Perrine is hurt, so we got more Johnson. And another guy that we've spoken about on Jets Guru before, Josh Adams, who for some reason everybody wants Josh Adams on their team, but they don't play him for some reason. I don't know how that works. Well, he got a chance to play today, and the young man came out to play. And like Kevin, me and Kevin Robbins, the other Jets Guru, we were talking about it on the side. So proud of this front of the Jets and these young running backs. I mean, Johnson, he was drafted just last year by the Lions, and he was cut. What a redemption story for him to come in his first real action as a starting running back, you know, for the New York Jets. 22 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Adams, 8 carries, 74 yards. Sam Darnold, 3 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. The Jets running game came out to play, 34 carries, 206 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And you know what? I got to give Adam Gase a little bit of credit here, too. I know you guys don't want to do that, but we got to be fair here, whether we think long-term they're good or not. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this Raiders game right here. You got to give Gase some credit. I think the Jets called a pretty good game. I think even coming out of halftime, what hurt the Jets were the turnovers and the mental lapses, not necessarily the play calling, which hurt the Jets in this game. And they were able to pull themselves back up and keep it very competitive for the game, especially that offense. You know, it brings up some points, though. For Sam to go 14 for 23 for only 186, 2 touchdowns and an interception, when you're playing against a team that literally was losing people by the quarter, and they already came in thin, and they're already a team that gives up 29 points. The Jets needed every bit of that 200 yards rushing to keep them in the game. Let's be fair here, okay? What kept the Jets in this game, not making it a blowout, was the fact that it was the rushing attack that kept going after the Raiders. And what winds up happening is when you run the ball this well, you have to account for it. You can't just go and send extra guys in the backfield to cover. You got to stay up at that line, and it left some opportunities open for the Jets. 5 receptions, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns for Crowder. Mims, 2 receptions, 40 yards on 3 targets. That's the one thing that bothers me too. You got to find a way to get that young man the ball more. He's a dynamic receiver. Perryman, 1 reception, 22 yards. Sam just doesn't have the arm to throw it over the top. So Perryman, when he's paired up with Sam, is not going to perform on the same level as he would with Flacco. That's why Crowder's numbers shot up, because he looks for Crowder, whereas Flacco looks down the field more. So you're going to see more Mims, more Perryman when he's playing. But I mean, you have to give credit to Sam Darnold for playing a lot better in this game. And it increases his value as a tradable quarterback after the season is over, which is a good thing for him and a good thing for the New York Jets, because the trend that he was going on there for a while and throwing no touchdowns in those 4 games, I mean, it was looking really bad for him, for the New York Jets, and for his trade value and for what the Jets can get back for him. This kind of puts Sam back on a track where teams can see things in him that you go, okay, I think he could play. But I just can't give a guy – I can't pass on a guy like Trevor Lawrence. I can't give Sam Darnold $25 million for his 5th-year option, because when you look at it, if you pass on Lawrence, you have to do that because you can't pass on a generational talent and then just give Sam a 1-year audition again. It's either get rid of Sam or bust. You got to go with Sam or you don't go with Sam. There's no in between if you pass on a guy like Lawrence. And I expected to see a lot more from Sam. I expect a guy in his 4th year who already has turnover issues to be a little bit better with the football, right? Those were killing turnovers, okay? And yeah, the offensive line, of course, you got to do a little bit better job at blocking. But listen, I'm not going to kill Becton on that first one. He's been a Pro Bowler this whole year. You're going to get beat once or twice, okay? You're not perfect. It just happened to be there. But you got to do a better job at holding the ball. Sam's got to have a better understanding of pocket awareness and timing on one of those fumbles. He just got completely drilled. No awareness whatsoever, no protection. Ball one hand just hanging out there. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Marcus May, on and off game. He had a costly penalty. He had some plays that he missed. Waller went off in this game. I mean, the Jets have not been able to cover tight ends at all. 13 receptions, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns on 17 targets. So if you guys had Waller in fantasy, you definitely helped your case for winning this week. But when you look at the Jets and you look at that defense again, Bryce Hall, on and off game, but it's his rookie season coming off injury, just playing a few games in the pros. I like what I see from Bryce Hall. And how about the announcers, guys, right? I mean, what an awful job. I mean, the touchdown that was given up, I'm not sure if it was to Renfro or not. That wasn't even Bryce Hall at all. If I'm not mistaken, that was Lamar Jackson. He's like, oh, Hall's got to do a better play. And then on a play where Hall makes a great play, they say it's Ashton Davis, who's a Caucasian man. What are you watching out there? I mean, so Hall had an on and off game, but I like his intensity. I like that even when he gives up receptions, the guys are always close. They're always right there. He's a young player. He gets a bit handsy, a bit aggressive sometimes. That's going to happen. Lange again over on the ball. Neville Hewitt on the ball again. You look at Quentin Williams. If I'm not mistaken, he had like 4 or 5 quarterback hits. He had 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. He's becoming a big issue in the middle for teams, disrupting things. That's what you like to see from your football team. And the Jets gave up 25 carries, gave up 75 yards on 25 carries. Again, doing a good job in the run. It seems like they're gelling. Huge mistake by Greg Williams on that last play of the game. We know Greg Williams is an aggressive coordinator. We know he likes to blitz. But, man, you really want to blitz Carr right there. And you know you're playing with third stringers and practice squad guys and guys who've been cut and in a league that's a passing league and people don't like cutting cornerbacks. And there's a reason why they get cut. A lot of rookies, a lot of new guys. And you want to leave them one-on-one in that situation against Henry Ruggs, who has big-time speed. I don't like. That's not a good play call. If you want to try to win the game, you gotta force the Raiders, like they have been doing, to just keep beating you. But don't give up that big home run play. And listen, you know, Waller had 13 receptions for 200 yards, right? But that was a grind for him. It wasn't like, oh, well, they're just throwing 50-yard bombs. I mean, 17 targets, 13 receptions. They had to push down the field with Waller to get those points to keep the Jets off of them. But you can't give up a big play like that, 46 yards, and leave that guy by himself. Just a critical mistake by Greg Williams there. Who knows? A lot of people say the fix was on. Hey, we saw enough out of our team from all our young players. Do what you got to do. They don't play like that, guys. There's careers on the line. There's money on the line. It was just a bad play call, left the Jets exposed, and the Jets got beat. But, man, I'd like to hear from some of you guys. Call in the hotline if you want, 1-202-952-6194. I want to hear what you felt about this game, how it made you feel as you were watching it, because, again, I was on the edge of my seat and I didn't know how to feel. Obviously, you always want the Jets to win. For the players, you want them to win because they get paid. Their careers are on the line. You want them to show well. But at the same time, I'm a Jets fan. I'm looking long-term, not just year to year. And I think the Jets, even if you keep Sam Darnold, I think having the first pick in the draft is just so beneficial because imagine if you keep Sam Darnold, right? Imagine you keep Sam Darnold and then you have that first pick that you could trade out, maybe get another first rounder, giving you 3 first rounders, you know what I'm saying? And moving and getting extra pieces, you know? So I just think it's so critical for the Jets to hold on to that with the remainder of games that are left. But, man, you couldn't ask for a better game as far as Darnold's value going up, getting his confidence back so we could see a competent offense moving forward because I want to see him continually to get better. Ty Johnson going off, Adams getting some looks going off, Crowder getting back in the fold, Mims still looking loose, still looking good, Quentin Williams going out there, getting some sacks, getting some tackles for loss, being disruptive, Lange still on the field, Hall still holding up. I mean, there's a lot of things. Marcus May continuing a solid season. I mean, there's so many things that you can look to this game. Ballantyne returning the football looked good. So, I mean, when you, as a Jet fan, you got to be happy with what you saw out of this game. And then you look at the Jets and you look at 3 out of their last 4 games. They've put over 20 points a game up on the board, which just validates this wide receiver group. Again, I'm going to say it, validates this wide receiver group. Now, I know a lot of people, I posted on Jets Guru, and I said, hey, listen, I said, what if we bring back Perryman on another 1-year deal, $6 to $7 million with incentives, or a 2-year deal with the second year being mostly incentives? I think that would be very important for this offense moving forward because he can stretch the field when he's used, when he's targeted. Again, he wasn't targeted that much in this game. I think it would be a good play. If you hang on to Sam Darnold and Sam Darnold's your quarterback moving forward, I think it's super important to kind of keep this group together. Mims, Crowder, even Perryman for 1 more year, continue to draft another guy. But when you look at where the Jets draft, it depends on what happens, right? If you draft Trevor Lawrence, there's nothing wrong with having a speedster they could throw the ball to down the field, right? And bringing him back on a cheap prove-it deal. Because if you take Trevor Lawrence, then you have a later round pick. So I'd have to go through the draft, which we don't go through right now on Jets Guru, and look to see where there's going to be a receiver in that late first round that's worthy of the Jets. So the Jets may not even be it because I think cornerback is a bigger need and pass rusher. So you have to look at where you're at there, and including offensive line. And so if the Jets aren't really in a position to take a receiver until that second round pick or maybe beyond, then it would be wise to bring back a guy like Perryman on a year or even a prove-it year deal that doesn't cost you anything if you have to let him go on that second year deal. On that second year on the deal. I think that's important, both for Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence. So looking at that, I think the Jets have a group here that you could trust that have played in New York now, that you see they could play in this weather, that you could see that they could play being in some of the worst circumstances you could be as a football team, which is 0-12. And they're still going out there grinding and performing. They're showing their speed. They're showing their footwork. They're showing their determination. I like this wide receiver group. I really like it. So we got Eric on the line right now. JR, you could go ahead and punch him through.
All right, Eric, you're on the line.
Okay.
You can go and give your.
Go ahead, Eric. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's it going, my man? Thanks for calling in. What do you got for me?
Doing well, man. My pleasure. Hang on, I just want to make sure I'm not actually like doubling up on the volume here. Is the show coming through?
Yeah, you're good to go, brother. Go ahead and tell me what you got.
I was gonna talk about the secondary. I thought the secondary was playing really well today, especially considering the situation with the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, again, and I keep telling you guys, we could blame Greg Williams. I'm going to blame him, especially on that last play. I just don't think you should be blitzing in that situation with Henry Ruggs one-on-one. But considering these guys are second, third, and beyond stringers, I think they did hold up pretty well. But I think where you really get a lot of that is the frustration that Quentin Williams and company can push up the middle. Remember, you don't have to necessarily get sacks to make a difference. You just have to get guys uncomfortable. Listen, the tight end went off. Waller went off. The Jets haven't been able to cover tight ends this year because the linebackers that we have that are available, they're not great in coverage. And safeties, honestly, when they're paired up against these tight ends.
You watch any Raiders game, no one's locking up Waller.
No, he's a great tight end.
No one covers him.
Yeah, he's a great tight end. And not just that, when you look at safeties across the league, tight ends are getting smaller and smaller as far as their size. They're becoming more like pseudo wide receivers. But they do still have the 6'3", 6'4", and above size. And so it's hard for a lot of these safeties to come up and really match up with them. But listen, the Jets were in this game. You got to give Bryce Hall a lot of credit, Eric, because he shows a tenacity. He's right there to make a play all the time. Sometimes he gets a little handsy, a little over-aggressive. He winds up getting beat. But this is what I want to see from my rookie cornerback who's done his, third or fourth game here. I want to see that aggressiveness. I want to see his skill set. I don't want to see him playing 5-7 yards off a receiver. Anybody can do that. You could find a scrub off the waiver wire to do that for you. I want to see what this kid has. I want to see you challenge wide receivers. And I think that's what you're getting out of Bryce Hall.
Definitely. I fully agree. And that, and it's a game where you have to play with your, you got to play with your hands. You need that hand fighting, and you got to figure out what that balance is. You look at the best corners in the league, and they're doing the same thing. But what was also, I'm definitely excited about Bryce Hall, but what was also exciting to me today was how well Guidry played.
Yes, he did. He had the penalty at the end that,
a lot of this game that we weren't even thinking about the wide receivers because they were locked up.
Yeah, he played all right. He played okay in there. He had a penalty at the end that was kind of costly, but again, these guys are trying the best that they can. These are guys that don't start. These are guys that aren't even your second or your third corners on most of your teams or most seasons, and they're going out there basically on the fly, filling in, trying the best that they can. And listen, again, what kept the Jets in this game, and thanks, Eric, for the call. I really appreciate it, brother. What kept the Jets in the game for this was the running game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The New York Jets being able to run and being able to take that and stretch the game out, allow the Raiders to come in cold a little bit at times because it slowed the game down. And obviously, it changes how you play defense when the team up front is able to run the ball. So thanks, Eric, for the phone call. I really appreciate it. If anyone else is calling in, let me know before I do my closing statements here. Guys, you can't ask for a better game from your New York Jets, considering they're a winless team. I think this team has made progress. We speak about this all the time on Jets Guru audio podcasts, and we reference the team before Bill Parcells came, the Rich Kotite team, and we state that there was players like Aaron Glenn, Victor Green, Keyshawn Johnson, different things like that, different players like that, Wayne Corbett, who changed the facet moving forward with a better scheme. So I think, a lot of people say, well, the Jets don't have any players. That's not true. The Jets do have players on this roster. It takes a lot to lose football games. It doesn't come down to just one person. When you have a coach that doesn't scheme correctly for your quarterback, and you buy a running back who doesn't fit the scheme of your coach, and your coach has no reasons to change anything else around, when you have injuries up and down the team, when you have no first, second, or third quarter due to injuries and just lack of talent, you're going to lose games. But when you look closer, you look at guys like May, you look at guys like Neville Hewitt, Lange, Fadukasi, Quentin Williams. You know what I mean? These types of guys, and Kyle Phillips before he got hurt. You look at guys like Becton. You look at guys like Fant. I think Fant has had a really good season for the most part. You got to remember, Fant is really a left tackle being forced to play right tackle the last few years. And I think he's played a lot better than guys like Van Rotten or McGovern, who were just brought here as well. So I think when you bring in a new coach and a new scheme, you start to see players like Mims and Crowder and Perryman pop even more. You see now, because Flacco fits Adam Gase's offense a little bit better than Sam Darnold does because, Adam Gase wants to push the ball down the field. Sam Darnold, to me, is a dink and dunk kind of rollout type of a quarterback. You can hit him with a play action later on, but he can't just sling it with the best of them. That's not how Sam Darnold operates. That's not what he does best. You need to have a strong running game, a solid defense, and then let Sam work. letting Sam throw 17 to 20, 25-ish times a game, maybe 22 times a game is beneficial. Not throwing 40 times a game, not launching it down the field. So when you see guys like Flacco come in and they do a lot better than Sam Darnold, it's because the offense fits Joe Flacco a lot better, and it fits, honestly, the skill sets better for guys like Perryman and Mims, because Mims, even though he looks kind of long and lanky and that kind of stuff, he could get it moving once he gets going, and he is a down-the-field pass catcher. I mean, this guy, he's tall. You can go up and get the ball. He could work the sidelines. He could work the inside. He could go and get the ball, and then you have a blazer like Perryman. So, Joe Flacco's going one read and throwing it down the field, 1-2 reads, throwing it down the field, whereas Sam Darnold doesn't play like that, so he's scanning the field. So the offense is going to look different. So when you get a new coach to come in, and Adam Gase has said it as much, he has not gotten Sam Darnold where he needs to be. So when you get in a new coach who could come in here and scheme for the quarterback, you're going to see better results. You just are. You're going to. When you get a running back in here that actually fits the offense and what you want to do, then you're going to see better results. And ultimately, the offensive line is going to play better because the offense is fit around the quarterback. So therefore, the offensive linemen will have that set around them as well. And then the defensive side of the ball. I love Greg Williams. And to me, it's more player personnel on the defensive side of the ball. You got to remember, the offense is fairly healthy for the most part for what they have. The defense is not. When you get better cornerbacks, better first string, second string, and remember, Brian Poole is hurt in the slot, right? So you're losing another corner there. When you get better corners, and I think you get a lockdown, we need a middle linebacker in there, a leader. Mosley was supposed to be that guy, and it's not. And Hewitt is filled in admirably. But we need a guy who's a little bit better in coverage and has a little bit better of a skill set. Even if you pair him with Hewitt, that's fine. But we need a little bit better there, okay? When you get those, you're going to see less. You're going to see less of what you've seen. Everybody's number one wide receiver or tight end is going off on us. If it's not Keenan Allen, it's Gesicki, it's Waller. It's someone's going to go off because we just don't have enough talent there, right? So it's Devontae Parker. I mean, you just go down the list of guys who've put up games on us, who've scored on us because we don't have the talent. So once we do that on the defensive side of the ball, I think we'll be golden. And that's why you have to look at the draft as something a little bit different, because if you pick Trevor Lawrence first, to me, you have to go corner or you have to go a pass rusher to give your defense a little bit of help, and then try to work in maybe getting some other things through free agency with that $80 million that you have, getting another offensive lineman. But to me, the offense is a lot more set than what the defense is right now in a passing league. And the Jets are going to give up 25 plus points a game because they just don't have the talent. And Greg Williams got a little bit too feisty there at the end, allowing one-on-one coverage. We don't have the guys for one-on-one. And yes, I know you can't just run zone all game. You have to eventually call your plays, call your shots. I understand that. But at the same time, just the situation at hand, you've been doing such a good job for the most part all game, limiting those big-time deep throws down the field. May breaking up a huge one. We thought the game was going to be over there down the field, and he just didn't leave any help, and Ruggs used that speed and just burnt us the hell up. But I'm proud of the Jets today, and you should be too. This is a winless team with a lot of injuries and a lame duck coach and an organization that is reeling and on its heels, and a quarterback who's been struggling, and a running game that hasn't been able to get going. And they were able to do some things today. Darnold was able to do some things to help his stock. Running game was able to do some things. Even defensively, there was a couple individual players that played well throughout the course of the game that gave you hope moving on to the future that they could be pieces to contribute to this franchise. And you just have to take it and be happy with it. Be as happy as you could be, because this is as good as it's going to get. This might be the closest Jets game we have moving forward, because Cleveland is no slouch anymore. We just saw that this week, and we've been seeing it slowly as the season is progressing. The Patriots, we'll see where they're sitting at the end of the season, and if we can maybe snatch a victory from them. But they already saw us once, and Flacco's not playing. And so it's hard to imagine that they're going to have the same aerial attack as they did the first time when we played them. So Hey, man, another winless Sunday. It's both a win for the future of the Jets and, but a loss in the short term for people who always want to see their football team win. But, everybody got a little bit of something today. Everybody got some good play. Everybody got some fun watching for the last couple hours. And then you get the Jets guru to kind of package it up and kind of put it to sleep for you. But this is it. 0-12. We're moving forward. If you get a chance, please jump on our Twitter at Guru Jets, Instagram at Jets Guru, and then you can listen to our podcast audio anytime you want, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google Cast, we're on all of them. And as always, do me a huge favor, guys. There's 40 guys and gals. There's 47 of you watching right now. Please give me one share on your page. We don't curse. We don't talk politics. And I would love to absolutely keep this page going and keep spreading it. Thank you so much for the response and all the write-ups this week. I see everything that you guys write. I love all the comments, both for and against my arguments. I know I'm not going to agree with everybody. I do not know all. I'm just giving you the best take that Daniel Smith can give you and a good Jets perspective from someone who cares, someone who watches the games intently and with a fine eye. And that's all I could give you. But thank you so much for all the support. Hang in there. We'll get with you next week. And
hey, Daniel.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, we got one more call in, man. It's CJ.
All right, one more call. We're going to do one call, and then we're going to head off. CJ, go ahead. What do you got for me, bud?
How you doing, man? It was definitely a gut-wrenching loss, but one thing I can say that I'm happy for as far as like the talent and roster. I'm definitely happy for Quentin Williams. Quentin Williams is a bullet. Everybody's saying trade him, do this and do that, but he's only 19 years old, mind you. So he flashed. Neville Hewitt, I believe he should be a starter moving forward, honestly. Because Neville Hewitt been balling since last year too. I always been a fan of him because I always felt that he was underrated in my book.
Yes.
It's just you don't go all out blitz on a quarterback like Derek Carr, who can sling the ball, who got good pieces. With 5 seconds left, just play a little prevent defense, Because as long as I've been a Jets fan, I never seen us go 0-16. I really don't plan on seeing that at all. But we got bad coaching, of course. That's not hard to see. But it was a good effort though. I might get mad and go on my rants, but it was definitely a good effort. And I like the Johnson guy, the running back Adams. Denzel Mims, he's gonna be a star. I like Braxton Berrios. I've always been a fan of him too. He's a beast too on the low. Jamison Crowder. We got some good targets, but Sam, we ain't year 3-4 now with him. He's still making rookie mistakes. We got to clean that up ASAP.
Absolutely, and thank you, CJ, for the call so much. With Neville Hewitt, I wouldn't mind him starting next to somebody else that I think is just a little bit better in coverage, just has a little bit better of a skill set. But you gotta remind yourself, Neville's been balling since his Dolphin days. He's always had a very high motor, strong linebacker. Obviously, look at him. He's just in phenomenal shape. He's one of those guys that just doesn't give up. He will not give up until they blow the whistle. He's an excellent guy to have on the football team. I love having Neville Hewitt on the team. I'd love to see him back. I just want to see him paired with someone who's just a little bit better skill-wise for some of the assignments that you have to have in the NFL in this day and age, especially like we were talking about earlier with the tight ends getting thinner and more wide receiver oriented. As far as Quinton Williams, he's 22 years old. This kid is, he is on the verge of stardom, guys. Really, I pray that he stays healthy, especially for the next couple of years. I hope he stays healthy because he's only going to get stronger. He put in all of the hard work that is necessary to become the next level player. He got his diet right. If you could tell his body just changed from year 1 to year 2. His mindset has changed. He did an interview with Bart Scott, and he was saying with Han and Bart Scott, and he was saying that one of the hardest things for him to adjust to was just his mind. His mind was constantly running pre-snap, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. Now he's getting a little bit more comfortable in the NFL. He's seen a bunch of different tackles. Offensive linemen have hand moves. They have swim moves. They have hand moves. They have chest moves. They have bump moves. There's wide receivers that come over. Running backs that come over and chip. There's different things that happen on that offensive line. and double teams, and he's starting to learn how to work around and work with that, and he's becoming stronger. And wait, Quentin Williams will get stronger. Wait till he's about 24, 25 years old if he's healthy, and that real man strength comes in, and he's not like that college kid anymore, and it really starts to pick up. He will be unstoppable. Again, talking about Quentin Williams, don't look at the sack numbers. Look at the tackles for loss, because that will tell you everything you need to know, because the tackles for loss means that he is in the backfield and he is doing work. And you're going to get sacks because there's going to be quarterbacks stepping up in the pocket. And mind you, when you pair him with another player where he doesn't take a brunt of the double teams, you'll see his numbers go up more than two. So, and as far as Sam Darnold is concerned, he is still making the same mistakes, which is an issue. He's still a turnover machine, which is an issue. And again, this is against a team with a lot of injuries in the secondary, against a team who got injured a lot during the game. You're going to face tougher opponents, and it's if you can't muster over 200 yards passing, it's against a team that gives up 29 points, a team that lost so many corners and lost a safety in this game. I mean, when are you going to be that difference maker? Like, it didn't seem like Sam was a difference maker. It seems like he was just there for the ride. Like, again, if you don't have that 200-yard performance by this running group, this game is most likely a blowout. That running game is what kept you in this game. There's no doubt about that, 100%. And again, I'm going to mention his name, Pat Eflin, the new guard that was signed by the Jets, him paired next to Becton. Whew, they look good today. So keep an eye on that moving forward and what these two could do together, because if you have your answer at guard to replace Lewis, and maybe you feel McGovern's not the center that you want, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, I'm not sure, but it's one less guy that you have to waste a draft pick on, and one less guy you have to drop $13 million on, or whatever, what have you. And so I like what I saw from the Jets today. You got to be encouraged by the individual performances. They won and they didn't win. They won in the draft, but they also didn't win the game. And I'm going right now and I'm checking out this Jaguars game. Minnesota wind up winning this game. The Jets wind up winning this game. Jacksonville goes up in the stats and they are set for Trevor Lawrence. And so, I don't know how fate is. This is an important game, because I think before I let you guys go, no more calls. Before I let you guys go, the one thing I will say is this. You might look back on this Raiders game, and this might be a transformative game for this franchise. Because when you look at it, the Jaguars were going at it with the Vikings. The Jets are going at it with the Raiders, right? And there's a chance that the Jets could have won this game, a huge chance. They're talking about seconds away from winning this game. That would propel the Jaguars to the first pick, who would no doubt select Trevor Lawrence. That would bump the Jets down to the number 2 spot. Maybe they trade out of that spot, go down. Maybe they take a guy like Justin Fields, or they take the guy from Florida, or whoever. You don't know. Once the draft comes, the combine, everything just gets boosted up. Guys go up and down, different things. You might have a scenario where Lawrence Fields or Lawrence somebody else, and now it's different. Now the Jets stay in the first slot. Jaguars stay in the second. We have a chance at Lawrence. They have a chance at Fields and whoever else. And we're going to see how this plays out over the next year or two. But if the Jets do get a new quarterback, right, and he plays well, you might look back to this Raiders game and say, imagine if we would have won that Raiders game. We wouldn't have had Lawrence. Now he's playing well, and this guy looks really good. And maybe we're talking about a different scenario. Or maybe the Jets maybe the Jets keep Sam Darnold, right? They keep Sam Darnold, and they don't get a chance to draft Trevor Lawrence, because the Raiders, we wind up beating the Raiders, and we drop down, and the Vikings go up, and you go, oh my gosh, we won that one game. And imagine that. Imagine if the Jets beat the Raiders and Lawrence is a real good player. And the Jaguars, their franchise starts going up, and we're sitting there like, oh no, this always happens to the Jets. So right now, everything stays, Pat, the way it's been. The Jets give you a good performance moving forward. We do know the draft is a 50-50 proposition, so you never know what you're going to get. But again, I'd rather have the first pick, even if we're staying with Darnold, because I want to trade out and get as many picks as possible to surround around Sam Darnold, if that is the case. But I think we've seen enough. And I'm pretty sure I know where the Jets are going to go with their pick. And we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, because the Jets are giving you some nail biters here in the last couple of games where they want to win, man. You can't tell me that this team is quit. They have not quit. They may not be talented enough to win individually. They might have some holes that they get exploited, but this is not a quitting team. They're not getting blown out the box. The only time they're getting blown out the box is when an individual player blows up, and it almost happened today with Sam Darnold with 3 straight turnovers. Other than that, the team collectively are fighting. They're scrapping. They're trying to win a game for you. But I just don't know how many Jet fans actually want them to win. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in so much. I'm going to get out of here. My computer's about to die. I don't know where my crazy charge is at over here. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Awesome post game. Thank you, CJ, for the calls. Thank you, Eric, for the calls. Continue to give us calls throughout the course of the week when we do our shows. We'll be up and running. Hope you guys like the new look. We're going to add as much new stuff as possible to give you the best New York Jets fan experience possible. And hopefully someone will notice us. Hopefully someone like Bart Scott, hopefully Marcus May, one of these players notices us, and we could get some guys on, talk New York Jet football, start getting Jets Guru legitimate, and start asking the good questions. So thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are the best fans in the world. Can't wait to the next show. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Peace.